Shaul was the first king of Israel over all the 12 tribes of Israel, and he died. He was killed in battle on Mount Gilboa by the Philistines, him and his three of his sons. And they lost the war. The Philistines have taken over parts of the land, and now we have two kings. David is king in Yehuda, and one of Shaul's remaining sons, I think it was his only remaining son, was king of the rest. He moved his capital to a place called Machanaim, which is just on the eastern side of the Jordan in the area of Gilad, and gradually he got control over the country, starting with Asher, and then Emek Yisrael, and then Manasseh, and then Ephraim, and then Binyamin. And basically over the course of some period of time, it's not so clear. It was either a short period of about 6 months, or it could have been over 5 years. It's not so clear in the story exactly how long it took. He has now taken control over the rest of the country. Taking control doesn't mean taking it from David, it means taking it from the Philistines, okay? Who, because they won the battle against Shaul, had taken, at least politically, they control the country.
100%, or maybe they were controlling themselves.
No, that's why I said it was a political control. Just like Israel controls the Palestinian Authority. Yes, technically it's Israel, but they'll go in there and busy themselves there. They could do if they wanted to. Something like that. I don't know. It's not just, there's no details, I don't know. Right? We do know that the Philistines took over the cities that the Jews had fled from around Israel. They didn't from the whole country. That was just the initial reaction to the loss of the battle. Right? And it could be the people didn't have their allegiances to either side. Not to David or to, but over the course, Avner, who was the Sar HaTzava, which means the head of the Shaul's army, persuaded the people to join his side. He felt this was the right thing to do. Now that's itself a big discussion, because Shmuel has already anointed David, but that was secretly. Shmuel anointed David.
He told everyone.
Well, just a minute. It doesn't say that in the story. Right? I just told it. Right? Okay. So Shmuel has anointed David, but that itself was a secret. That Shmuel had informed that David should be the next king, that is mentioned in Chazal, and that's what the Malbim brings, that Shmuel had mentioned that. Avner, it seems, look, Avner was a big tzaddik, and Avner seems to have debated the authenticity of that statement. Either he didn't believe what people said in the name of Shmuel, he wasn't there at the time when Shmuel said it, or Shmuel didn't make it so clear when he said he wanted David to be the next king. Does that mean over everybody? Chazal say that Avner hung his opinion on a pasuk in the Chumash. Okay, so he was passing the Chumash there.
This is why I had a Chumash there.
Yeah, right. So Hashem is speaking to Yaakov Avinu when Yaakov Avinu has had almost all his children. He's had 12 out of his 13 children. He had 12 tribes and one daughter, right? Mentioned in the Chumash, and he's only got one child still to be born. Hashem comes to Yaakov in a prophetic vision, and he says to him, find it, here it is, next page. Your name is Yaakov. This is in chapter 35, Pasuk 11 in Bereshis. Your name is Yaakov, you shall no longer be called Yaakov, but Yisrael shall be your name, and he called his name Israel. Yeah, and God said to him, I am God Shakai, Parei Uravei, which means be fruitful and multiply. Goy or Kahal Goyim Yemimeka, a nation and a multitude, or a whole group of nations will come from you. Umelachim and kings Mechalatzecha Yetzei will come out from your loins. That's how it's translated here, loins. Okay, so it says kings in the plural. So Avner assumed that the way to read this passage means that from the remaining child that is going to be born, there will be kings. It doesn't say your descendants will be kings, right? It says from your loins, which means that from the children that have not yet been born, there will be more than one king. And the only child still to be born was Binyamin. He was the only child born after this story. And there's only been one king from Binyamin so far, which was Shaul. I have an argument, well, it says clearly in the Torah, there's meant to be more than one king from Binyamin, therefore it makes sense to appoint the son as the king. Now, was Avner right? Oh no, maybe. But he certainly took the logical conclusion and made sure that Shaul should be king, at least over the other tribes besides Yehuda. Like we said, you can have more than one king over this tribe, one king over that tribe. It's legally and halachically acceptable, and they'll both be called kings, and so it fits in when it's possible. And maybe he was right, at least for the meantime, there's supposed to be a second king, and that's why Avner made sure that Ishbosheth, which was his name, was the next king. But let's continue on page 5, chapter 2. Ben, thank you very much. So it's a new Indian. Ben Arboim Shana Ishbosheth Ben Shaul HaMelech. He was 40 years old. That means the son of 40 years. In English, you would say 40 years old. Ishbosheth, the son of Shaul, was HaMelech when he became king. Which is interesting because that's how old David was as well. We're going to find that later on. David was also 40 years old when he became king. Sorry, no. David was 30 years old when he became king. No, he was king for 40 years. Right? So he was 40 years old when he became king. So it gives you some sort of idea of what age Shaul was. Some sort of idea. Shaul wasn't a 20-year-old or 30-year-old. He was clearly above 50. Right? Because his son, one of his sons, probably one of the youngest of his sons, because the three oldest were probably in battle, he was 40 years old. Ushtayim shanim malach. And he reigned for 2 years. And the question is that the total reign or not? Because, bear that in mind, he was king for 2 years. That's what it says. Ach, Beis Yehuda, however, Ach means however, the house of Yehuda, which means the tribe of Yehuda, Hayu, Acharei David, they followed David. David followed, and the only tribe that followed David was Yehuda. All the other tribes, at some point, eventually followed Ishbosheth. So when it says 2 years, it might mean 2 years from the beginning of his reign. It might mean 2 years once it was all consolidated. It could be that after it was consolidated, people started to move over to David, and so it's not exactly clear where these 2 years fit. The reason why it's a bit unclear is because of the next person. He mispar hayamim asher hayah David HaMelech b'Chevron, and it was mispar, means the number of yamim. Here it means years, as it sometimes means. Asher hayah David, that David was king b'Chevron, in Chevron, al Beis Yehuda, over the tribe of Yehuda, sheva shanim v'shisha chadashim, 7 years and 6 months. Okay, so there's 5.5 years discrepancy between the length of the reign of Ishbosheth and David. So what happened during those 5.5 years? So it could be, it took him 5.5 years before he became king over all the tribes. It took him a long time, right? In which case the 2 years that I mentioned he was king means at the end of his reign. But he actually reigned for 7.5 years, just like King David did, right? Because what you're going to find out is at the end of those 7.5 years, he then became king over the other tribes, right? Or it could be the other way around. He was actually king for 2 years, and then slowly the people moved away from him. And after the end of 7.5 years, David took over everybody. I think it's unclear which way to read it. But yet say, so altogether David was king much longer, but the length of time that he was king in Hebron, king over the tribe of Judah, was 7.5 years. But yet say Avner ben Ner, he was the chief of staff of the army of now Ishbosheth, not Shaul. The Avdei Ishbosheth ben Shaul, and the other servants. Servant here doesn't mean slaves, it means the other commanders, captains, soldiers of Ishbosheth. They went Mimachanaim, from Machanaim, which is on the eastern side of the Jordan, Giv'onah to Giv'on. Where is Giv'on? Giv'on is just north of Yerushalayim. We've mentioned the Givonim, and remembers a long time ago, the Giv'on, well, we didn't do Shoftim together. The Givonim were a group of people who tricked Yehoshua into pretending that they were not from Canaan. So Machanaim is up here, there, in the tribe of God. Machanaim, the eastern side of the Jordan. Machanaim, there. And Giv'on is just over here.
This is an ancient map?
Well, it's ancient. It's in color, so it can't be that old.
Well,
it's a map which is meant to record the ancient sites.
Yeah,
Correct.
I don't think he was.
I'm like asking about like the greenery, like this is how it was. Like it was.
No,
that's
green.
elevation.
No, green doesn't mean green. Green means
Elevation.
below sea level.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
It's
brown means
top of the
it's
graph.
top. Okay, so this is the Jordan Rift Valley, and that's the sea. Okay, so these are the main roads. Maybe basically stay in the same place for thousands of years, more or less. Okay, Givon again. Givon is just north of you. There's Yerushalayim. There's Givon. So you go to Givat Zev. Into Givat Zev. That's where Givon is. Around there. It says Givon HaChadash. There's new Givon and old Givon. Just there. So it's like 10 kilometers north of here, and Machanaim is near. Where's Amman? Amman. Here. There's Amman. Rabat Amman. That's what it's called
Same
on
amount
Hebrew.
as this?
Yeah, sure. Amman. Rabat B'nai Ammon. Ammon is from Amman. Amman, same word. Okay? So Machanaim is north of there. Okay. So they've gone there. They've left here to walk. What they're doing in Givon, we've no idea. It doesn't say why they went
The
to Givon.
capital was outside of Israel, it was over the Jordan.
Well, outside Israel, the tribe of God lived there, right? It was all part
Yeah,
of the
but that
country. It wasn't part of the initial intended part of land that was given to Avraham Avinu. Yes, but it was part of the country. Eilat is part of Israel.
No.
Well, it depends who you ask. It depends what you
it's not a
mean.
mitzvah every
Depends
time
by what
it's
you
not a
mean.
mitzvah every
It
time you
depends
think
by what you mean by the word Israel.
When I talk
When
about
I said,
Israel-
is it part of Israel? It's part of Israel. Yes, the Israeli army controls it. You pay Israeli taxes there. You don't get a mitzvah for living in the yes. Of course, depends who you ask.
Over there, it's not like it's
Whatever.
You don't have a God over there.
Fine, whatever. I don't know about that. Or something. Yes, maybe.
That's what I'm wondering.
Whatever, I don't know. It doesn't mean. But it was controlled by Jews, right? It had kedusha sa'aret in a certain sense, which means what grows in Transjordan is obligated in Trumas and Maishras, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So everything, only the land west of the Jordan is considered Eretz Yisrael. However,
Depends on you
during
just
the-
with it. Depends what you mean. No, that's just semantics.
Oh.
What do you mean it's considered Eretz Israel?
Oh, okay.
That's why I said only that bit was an obligation for Yeshua to conquer. That's all. Right? It's different from the East that there was no obligation to conquer it. That doesn't mean that once you've conquered it, it's not got Kedusha Sa'aretz. It's a whole discussion. Right? How you get Kedusha Sa'aretz. It's not considered Eretz Zavas Vash, the eastern side, which is why you don't bring Bikurim from there. Because it's not a land flowing with milk and honey. But to say it's not part of Eretz Yisrael is not true. Right? No. The people from the tribe of God would not be happy with you saying they didn't live in the land of Israel. Or Menashe, no, they did, and they're obligated in almost all the mitzvahs. Shemitah, they're obligated in Torah. It's biblically obligated.
I would
It's
not
very,
want
very.
to. I would not want to live there. I'm not there.
It's a complicated issue, which I don't really know exactly the
I don't live in there,
details.
it's
But
fine.
yes, the capital was on the eastern side of the Jordan. All right. Now the troops have moved, or this group of troops have moved to Givon. Why? I have no idea. It doesn't say. So Avner went out together with some of the other commanders and soldiers from Machanaim to Givon. Givona means to give on. The hey at the end means to give on. The Yoav ben Tzeruya, who is he? He was the head of David's army. He was actually also David's nephew, right? Tzeruya, Yoav's mother, was David's sister. So most people are known by their father. The Yoav was known by his mother, Yoav ben Tzeruya. Why? I guess as well as I can, probably because his mother was more famous than his father, and that's why he was known by his mother's name. Yoav ben Tzeruya, the Avdei David, and the sermons that means David's generals and commanders, they, or some of them, what? Yatsu, they also went. Just coincidentally, it doesn't say they went to meet each other, they just happened to, it seems. Yifgeshum, and they met them, means these two groups of soldiers, met al Brechat Givon Yaftav, by the pool, and Brechat is a pool of Givon together.
Is that the same pools that they have nowadays in Givat?
No. Of course, there's a swimming pool, which is an indoor
I just
heated
saw-
swimming
yeah, I
pool.
just saw
Right?
that.
This is probably an outdoor, cold,
Yeah.
freshwater pool. I
Much
guess.
better.
Yeah, I guess. Okay? All right? Yeshvu, and they sat. Eile al habrecha mizeh. These by the pool from this side. But Eile and the others al habrecha mizeh. Means they weren't chilling out together. They were sitting on the opposite sides of the pool because they were not friendly. They weren't enemies. No, we've not mentioned anywhere there was any fights between these two sections of Klal Yisrael. Maybe political tension. I don't know. We don't even mention any fighting at all. Just that Yehuda was picked him, and they picked him, and they lived happily side by side. Right?
Not yet.
What?
Not yet.
No, yet what? There's no fighting yet. Yeah. Okay. Very soon. But they sit on either side of the pool. Now, don't forget, these people all knew each other because 6 months ago they're all fighting in the same army,
Yeah.
right? Obviously, many of David's men had not been fighting because they were David's 600 guys, but David's whole army had probably 100,000 people in it, and they were all people from the tribe of Yehuda. They'd all been part of Shaul's army, so all these people were knew each other. Yoav and Avner were friends, mates, they fought in the same army together, and there's no animosity between them naturally, only because they happen to be now in different kingdoms. David's kingdom and in Ishbosheth's kingdom. Other than that, they were best friends. Okay, whatever, I don't know. So, Yakumu no hanarim. Please let the lads get up. He's making a suggestion. So now means please, or it means now. Let the boys, the soldiers, get up. V'yisachaku lefanenu, and they should lesachek, to play. Let's them play. Means let's watch them play. Now play here doesn't mean Romeo and Juliet. Doesn't mean that. Play means gladiator. We're talking about soldiers here, not ladies. We're talking about soldiers. When soldiers play, they're not playing soccer, right? Or rugby. They're playing real stuff, right? But that doesn't mean they're out to kill each other. No, they're not real gladiators. Well, like
Exercise.
like Spartans when they fought.
Sparring.
What?
S-P-A-R.
Sparring?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I was talking about Spartans. Well, whatever. Yeah, you're right. So it means that this is a mock battle. That's what it means.
Well,
let's see who's better at it.
What word was this?
Lesachek, vayisachaku. So they should play lefanenu, and you and I will watch, and we'll vote who's better at this. Okay. No problem. He agreed. It wasn't Yoav's idea. It was remember it was Avner's idea, but Yoav had no problem with agreeing. I suppose each one thought that he would win. Ayakumu, and they got up. Ayavru, and they passed the mispar in number. Means you have to count them. You have to be fair, have the same number on each team. Right? So Avner counted his guys, or how many he picked. It could be there were lots more. Right? You'll see there were lots more. But these were just how many do you have on each team?
10 men.
10. 12. Why 12? So in football we have 11, right? In soccer. How many do you have in American football?
11 on the
11?
field.
On the field.
Plus the keeper.
American
Is that-
football.
In soccer you have 11 with
Oh,
the
I'm
keeper.
talking about soccer.
Soccer, you have
American
11 with the
football,
keeper.
I think
Okay.
it's 12 men.
12?
I want to say.
Okay, so here they have 12. Okay? Shnei Marso, it's not coincidental that you guys picked 12. It's probably come from this story. Okay, why 12? Okay, 12 is a significant number. It represents the 12 tribes, which Ishbosheth would like to rule over. Well, I don't know. It's significant. I know they picked 12.
11.
Shnei Asa LeBinyamin, 12 for Binyamin. That doesn't have to be there from the tribe of Binyamin. That the side is called Binyamin because the king is from the tribe of Binyamin. Even though he actually happens to rule over all the tribes as well, but that's the name of the side. Or the Ishbosheth for Binyamin and to Ishbosheth. Shnei Asa and the other 12 may have David of the servants of David. Okay, so we blow the whistle and they start. And what exactly are they doing? We don't know. What type of martial arts is this? I mean, what are they doing? Is it swords?
Krav
Is
Maga.
it Krav Maga?
I think it's swords, no?
You think it's swords?
They're pretty, like real, no?
What? No, I'm not suggesting it's not with swords, but even when you fight with it doesn't have to be real. It just means,
Sticks.
yeah, it could be lots of things. Right?
Wooden
Like
swords.
fencing.
It could be. You can imagine whatever you want. I have no idea, but it doesn't say.
Be grappling.
Okay, but let's see. Ayachziku ish berosh re'ehu, and each man took hold. Lechazak means strongly took hold of the head of his friend.
Yeah, it sounds like grappling. I was there.
Okay, and that's very interesting because we're talking about. You can do on both sides. Do that. Each one took the head of his friend.
Right, Ray's friend.
Re'ehu. Yes, it's usually translated as friend, although it's not
Plus they each grabbed each
accurately.
other's head. You know?
Okay, each one grabbed the other one's head. You like v'havta l'reach ha'kamocha. What does that mean? You shall love your neighbor. Don't say neighbor. Everyone says that. It's not what it says.
Fellow?
It means fellow. What does fellow mean? A neighbor is a shachen. Reya means a friend or a comrade or someone you have a loose relationship. It doesn't mean neighbor. Okay? I think that translation is a non-Jewish origin. You shall love the neighbor is not saying the chumash. Okay? A reacha means a friend or something similar to that. So here, and they're friends. Don't forget these guys. They're just on opposite teams. V'charboy betzad re'ehu, and his sword is by the side of his friend. Now that sounds like very innocent. You got his head, but his sword's just by his side. But that's not what it means. Because carry on. Yiplu yachtov, and they fell together. Now it's clear from the continuation story. It means that they're all dead. That's what it means. It's clear from the end of the story that what it means is that Now, does that mean that the game turned sour? It wasn't supposed to be like that? It certainly doesn't look like there was an intention that they should all be dead, or they should even try it. But that's how it worked out. Now, I don't know exactly. I can't imagine ever see a fight like this where both sides all die.
Right.
Right? Yes? But my take on this is a bit like two world chess champions who they can never win, and it's always like a stalemate because each one knows exactly what you're supposed to do and they're always stuck. Right? So I would imagine that David's men, or if you pick the best, and Ashboz's men are a bit like that as well. And any move the other guy does, you're ready, and it's really a stalemate. Until you get to the point where the next move you do, he's going to do the same move, right? So at the point that you pull out your sword, or you get him, he'll get you too, because these guys are actually equals, and there's no way one can actually be better than the other. And at that point that you decide to make that move, he's also decided to make that move. We've all been trained at the same school, and we all know exactly how to do this, right? So they're either going to continue being standoff forever, or at some point they're going to stab each other at the same moment. So again, I've never held a knife in my hand, a sword in my hand, so I have no idea how you do this fighting, but that's what it says. All 24 of them are now dead. And they called, or he called, who's the he, I don't know, either Avner or Yoav, no idea, that place, Chelkat Hatsurim Asher Begivon. This is a place that is in Givon, and it's called Chelkat. Chelkat means a portion, like a section, like Chelek, of the Tsurim. Tsur means?
Sewer?
Tsur. Tsur, Yeshua.
The rock would consider
Rock. Right. Tsur means a rock. It actually means a flintstone. Yes, Flintstone is a cartoon, I know that.
No, not
Right?
that.
What is a Flintstone? It's a very sharp rock.
Yeah.
That's the point. And never you can make a sword out of it. It's what the ancients used for butchering their prehistoric animals, right? And they flattened them like this, and they're very, very sharp. So if you would have a sword which was made from something like that, you could have, right? It would make sense why you would call the place Chelkat Hatsurim. But I don't know. Because it says they had swords, maybe their swords were made out of metal, I don't know. And that's the name of the place, somehow related to the sharp rocks that they killed each other with. Okay. Now that developed into an all-out battle. It didn't stop at the end of the game. Then all the other soldiers joined in. You cheated, you broke the rules, you weren't supposed to do that, and it became a big fight.
How many of them were there?
Let's see, that's why I said it wasn't just 12. The 12 were just picked. You can see there's hundreds of people watching this. Right? You can see from the end of the story. And the war, or the battle, was very difficult. Kosher, painful, difficult, harmful, lots of casualties. On that day, it was just one day. On that day, there was a war, all-out war between David's men, of these people who were there, not the whole country, right? Of these people, they went and had a proper battle. Now, who suffered more casualties? You'll see. Vayinogev Avner, the other men of Israel were plagued. That's really the word. Like a Magefa. Magefa is a plague. But they were the ones who suffered the most. Most of the casualties were on the side of Israel as opposed to the side of Yehuda. That's what it says. No. Slowly. Lifnei Avnei David, in face of the servants of David. The Avnei David, they were the ones who had the upper hand, although they also suffered casualties. But clearly, the ones who had the worst side of it were the servants of Ishbosheth and Avner. Okay. So now we'll see exactly the casualties at the end of the story. We'll say how many there were. Now we're going to go into one specific episode that happened in this battle. By Yiyusham, there were there Shloisha b'nei Tzuruya, 3 sons of Tzuruya. Again, Tzuruya was David's sister, and there were 3 of her sons were in this battle. One was Yoav, he's the most famous one, he's the head of the army. There was another.
He's the one who suggested the battle.
No, that was Avner. Avner was the other one, right? Oh, no.
He's responsible for all the deaths.
Correct, in a sense. I mean, people are responsible for their own actions, but yes, it's supposed mostly held against him because he was the one who came up with the idea, right? Okay. Then why? I don't know. I don't think he was intending for this all to happen, but it did happen. So who was there? Yoav, he's the big brother who's the head of the army, and there's the other 2, Avishai and Asahel. So Saul we've never met before. We have met Avishai. Avishai, he was the one who went with David down to Shaul when he was sleeping, and David said, let's go down and steal his spear and his negelvasser. Right? Remember? And that was together with his nephew Avishai. Now we've got another brother called Asael. Interesting names. Yoav, it's got something to do with father. Avishai means my father is Yishai, which is exactly what her father was. Surah, right? Yishai was the name of David's father. Asael means God made him. Okay, those are his names. Asael. Now we know one detail about Asael because the whole story is about him. Asael, he's the third brother. Kal Beraglov, which means light-footed. Light-footed means that he was very quick. He ran very fast. Ke'achad hatzevoyim asher basada, like a deer. Tzevoyim is a tzvi, the plural of tzvi. Tzvi is a deer. So he could run fast like a deer in the fields, like a wild deer. That's how fast he goes. Not literally, I suppose, but, describing how fast he goes. Right? We say in the Mishnah, Rotz Katzvi, right? Our friend, Rotz Katzvi,
Yeah.
that's his running company. You know?
Yeah.
Tzvi, what's his name? Tzvi Pauli. You know him?
How many got Rutsky?
His name's Tzvi. He's got a thing called Rotz Katzvi. He trains people to run. Okay, all right.
So
So this Tzvi, so that's what Asael. Asael could run like a deer. Vayir Daif, Asael, Acharei Avner. So Asael decided he's going to run after Avner. Avner was the one to blame for this whole story, right? He's the general, he's the chief of staff of Shaul's army, not called Avishbosheth's army, and now Asael's got it in for him. So Asael's running after Avner. Yuduf Asael Acharei Avner, V'loi nota, and he didn't turn aside, laleches, to go ala yamin v'ala smol, whether right or left. He wasn't distracted to anything else that was going on in the battle. He was honed in on Avner, and that was his target. He was not going after anybody else. He didn't turn to the right or to the left. He followed after Avner.
Blinders.
May acharei Avner. What do you do when you have these missiles, right? They hone in, and then they're chasing the tail of the thing, whatever. But May acharei Avner means from behind Avner. It means he was behind Avner, and he stayed behind Avner on Avner's tail until he got him. Vayifen Avner acharov. And Avner turned behind. He heard the men of Israel were running because they were the ones who were losing, so they were running away. So Avner was running away, Saul was chasing, and Avner realized who it is. He turned around very quickly. You can't run forward looking around, but he glanced around, and he says, Ha'ata ze Asael, which means the hay is, Dylan, what's the hay?
Questioning.
Question, right? That's why it doesn't, right? Even though it doesn't have a chatah patach, right? It looks like irregular hay, right? But it's not. Ha'ata, is that you, Asael? Means I know you well. Again, don't forget, Asael was one of his soldiers. Avner was the head of Shaul's army. So at the time, Asael would have been one of Shaul's soldiers. So he knows he looks like him, it's a bit in the distance, he's not 100% sure. From the way he's running, it looks like him. Okay, is that you, Asael? And he's Vayomer Anochi, he says, it is I. So they're having this conversation while he's running away from him. Vayomer Loi Avner, Avner said to him, Netei lecha, turn aside, Al Yamincha, to your right, Al Smocha, to your left. Don't chase me. Go and chase somebody else. Ve'echoz lecha, echoz means to take hold. Take hold for yourself. Achad me'anarim, one of the, you've got to get somebody else. Don't try getting me, because you try getting me, you're going to be sorry for this. Right? V'kach lecha, and then you'll take as chalitzato. That sounds like his chulza, as we say, his shirt. So apparently that was your trophy in war. Yeah?
Taking your enemy's
You
shirt.
take your enemy's shirt, just like you're doing football. They swap shirts at the end of the game, right? Ever seen that?
Jersey swap.
Right?
Yeah.
Jersey swapping, right? So there's something similar to that idea. You got the guy, you killed him, so you first of all take his sweater off, then you bury him, and then you can show everyone, you see, this is my trophy that I beat this guy. Or you take his belt, or whatever it is.
Or you take
No, these are Jews. We're going to bury them, don't forget. You're burying the guy,
Take
you
his
have
sword.
to kill him. Okay, so what you do, it could also be his sword may be more generic. On his shirt it says his number, you understand, then you know who you killed. Right? It says,
Yeah.
Messi, right?
So he's chasing his brother?
No,
Achor?
no,
Oh,
no. He says, no, it doesn't say Achor. You chase him after me. So he says, don't chase me, turn aside either to your right or to your left, get hold of some other lad, some other private soldier, and take his shirt. Asael did not agree.
Who's chasing Abner?
Asael is chasing
Okay,
Abner.
sorry.
Abner's fleeing.
Saul's on David's side.
Asael is one of David's nephews, right? Together, brother of Yoav, right?
Abner-
And Abner is the head of the other side.
And the one who started it.
Right.
Okay, I see.
And Asael didn't agree. No, he kept on chasing. Lasur, to turn away, Me'acharav, from following Abner.
Oh.
Okay. Now Yosef Abner said, Abner tried again. Now Yosef means he did it in addition. Lamar, it's a second warning. I warned you once, it's a second warning. Yosef Oid Abner Lamar, El Asrael, Sur Lecha Me'acharai, turn aside. He wouldn't still go into so much detail this time, just get out of here, turn away. Me'acharai, Lama Akeka, why should I strike you? Lehakot, to strike. Akeka, I will strike you. Outside, down to the ground, means if I get you, I'm going to kill you. So what? What's Avner's problem? Look, if someone's chasing you, you have to kill them, right? Why does Avner feel bad about it? Doesn't want to kill him.
So you want to start
You
an
already
actual
killed
war?
enough people.
What?
You already killed
No,
people.
but then he'll chase somebody else. Well, he's telling Asel, go and chase somebody else. Don't chase me.
Yeah.
Right? So listen to what he says. Avner says, Ve'eich, how esafanai will I lift my face el Yoav achicha, to Yoav your brother?
Yeah.
Because I know if I kill you, then your brother will have a vendetta against me. That's why I don't want to kill you. He's true, I have the right to kill you.
But
right?
Yoav already has everything against him because
No, it's just you start. No, but this
War.
becomes personal. Becomes a vendetta. When you fight a war, you don't have it in for the opposite generals. You come to the end of the make a ceasefire, and that's the end of the story, right?
Yeah.
Don't be killing them all, right? But the guy who killed your brother, that you can have it in for him. He's going to be what's called the Goel Adam. You would have the right to kill him, right? That's the whole story. They get killed by Shege. He goes to Are Mikla. That thing. So clearly, yours going to. So that's what Avner's worried about.
Shogeg.
It's worse if you do it
Yeah,
on base.
can't
That's
go
like
to
even.
Mikla.
I never still be killed by the family.
Yeah. The Ari Mikla wouldn't say true.
I don't know. I think
Save you.
I
I
think
can't.
you guys
I
screwed
mean,
up
didn't
with
say
that.
your family can still kill you.
Yeah.
No.
Right? If patient didn't kill
Yoav?
him. Okay, so here, now, could Yoav have killed him? That'd be another question. Did Yoav have the right to kill him? Look, I killed him in self-defense. If I kill him, say, okay, just because you have the right to do something doesn't mean the brother's going to say, oh, no problem, you killed him in self-defense. No, but let's be best friends.
Yeah.
We're talking about real people here, right? You know, and this guy's going to have it in for him.
Yeah.
He could say you could have done something else. Who said you'd have to kill him? You could have shot him through the leg. Whatever. There could be other arguments that may be put forward in a court of law. But either way, Yoav doesn't like the idea of killing Asael. Not because he likes Asael, but he knows that Yoav's going to be in for him. And Yoav's some tough guy to deal with.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So that's why he says, go and get somebody else. Leave me alone. Vayemain, and he refused. Lasur.
I would also refuse. I'm chasing the guy who started everything.
Yes, but you don't know this guy is a marksman. This guy is Avner. And don't forget, this Avner used to be your commander. It wasn't like Stam. This was everybody's commander originally. This was the head of Shaul's army. And all these guys, including Yoav and including Asael, had all been under his command. So it was like killing his commander in a sense. I agree things have changed over the past year or so and changed their allegiances, but still. And he knows Avner's capabilities. Oh, he can run fast, and he's catching up to him because he can run faster than Avner. So he's gradually catching up to him. Okay, let's see what happens. By Yema'en and refused Lasur, by Yakeyu Avner. Avner struck him. Be'acharei hachanis, with the back of the spear. Now, I always found it strange how you can hit someone with the back of the spear. But somebody told me, what was it, Shane? Shane seems to be the class's expert on munitions. And he says that in the olden days, spears had a point on the other side as well, in order that you can stick them into the ground. They're not meant for killing with, but that way you can stick them into the ground and you don't have to dig a hole for putting your spear.
How do you hold it then?
No, you hold. No, it's a long thing. You hold it in the middle.
The middle?
You hold it in the middle. You don't hold it at the end. He's not throwing the javelin.
Crazy way to fight with the spear.
Even a javelin is
It's
pointing
in the
at
middle. You
both
hold it in the middle. Let's hold it here.
Yes.
Right, most of
Yeah.
it's forward, and there's a spike at the end.
Look at this. You have sharp
It's
pencil
like
on both
Darth, Darth
sides.
Maul against with the two lightsabers.
No, but it's only a point at the
It's
end.
not- No, it's not.
It's not meant for killing the other
That's
end.
a piece of pencil.
Look at this.
It's meant for
Imagine
sticking
this
in the
thing.
ground.
Okay.
Like, look at this. Look how.
You hold it
Imagine
like
this.
this, and then you
Both
can reach
sides.
with it. Like you hold
Look right now. Boom. Look, I'm holding it. And I'm not being like. I can't believe I've explained
I
this.
see. It's really great. It's a
You
real.
got pictures of it?
I've never seen muffin
is
like that
the-
in my life.
What is it?
It's the oldest wooden.
It's just like
spear
magic.
ever.
No, you're talking about prehistoric man. You don't have to go so
Yeah,
far
but
back.
still.
This
I'm
is-
saying,
And they have both ends?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, that's what it says. So the question is it really pointed or not? That's not so clear, right? But if it's pointed, it makes it easier to understand. And the reason why I did it with the back is because he was running away, right? He didn't have time to turn around and shoot, because then he would have missed, right? It means whilst running away, he went like that,
Yeah.
right? He got it as he was coming close. He went
Yeah.
with the back of the spear. That's the point, okay? That's
Yeah, literally the point.
Yeah, sure. Avner struck him ba'acharei hachayis, with the back of the spear. El hachomesh. Now, this is the word that will occur at least, if I remember, 4 times in Shmuel, or Malachim. Chomesh means the 5th rib.
Through the 5th rib?
Yes. Now, the reason why that rib is picked out according to Chazal, I've never checked it out, I'm not a doctor. Chazal say that at the 5th rib, that probably means between the 5th rib and the 6th rib, right? You don't go through the ribs themselves, right?
That's where the heart is.
You go between them. No, it's not where the heart is, right? It's where the spleen and the liver are attached. I think where the spleen, what is it?
Lean and all
The spleen and the liver, or it's called something else. Kisamara. Kisamara is the thing that all the green, and it feeds the liver with bile duct.
Oh,
I think
it's
it's
the
bile.
gallbladder.
Right? The gallbladder.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
I
either
think
the
Chazal says it's the place where the gallbladder and the liver are joined,
Okay.
and apparently, if you get somebody there, it's finished.
heart and the
What?
liver. The heart and the liver are by the 5th rib.
Okay, whatever. Okay, but this is. It seems to be that this is a marksman. It's a sign of a marksman. A guy he knows exactly where to get you, because several times you have it in the story and through Tanach, it says, and he got him in the Chomesh.
Well, if he did it backwards, like he never turned around, he just went.
But that's what's so brilliant about Avner. You don't become the chief of staff overnight, you understand? You have to be the best guy in the whole army, right? And then, with lots of other qualities, then you become the chief of staff. That's the point.
Okay.
Now, it could very well be that the word to be armed in Hebrew, armed, how do you say that?
A-R-M-E-D.
Yes, chamush. Why chamush? What's chamush got to do with 5? The answer is either because that's where you keep your thing by the 5th rib, chomesh, or when you shoot someone, that's exactly where you try to get him with your gun. And that's why the word armed in Hebrew is the same word as 5, which is what you kill someone. Is it connected? I don't know, but it certainly looks like. El HaChomesh through his 5th rib. And then he killed him. So it shows what a marksman Avner was, that even though he was running away, and even though he was doing with the back of the spear, he still managed to get him exactly bullseye where you would want to do.
He was such a marksman, he would have gone for the knee.
That is the whole discussion in Gemara Sanhedrin.
It's saying it's
Shlomo HaMelech made that argument. You're going to call him Shlomo HaMelech from now on, Israel. When later, many years later, Yoav was taken to court. I'm going to spoil the story, but eventually Yoav kills Avner, right?
Yeah.
Avner now killed Asahel, right? Later on, Yoav kills Avner because you killed my brother, right? And then Yoav was taken to court many years later in front of Shlomo HaMelech to discuss exactly this point. Did Avner have the right to kill Asahel or not? If he had the right to kill Asahel, then Yoav had no right to kill Avner, and therefore Yoav's a murderer. But if Yoav didn't, if just a minute, if Avner did not have the right to kill Asahel, and that means that Avner is a murderer, in which case that Yoav has the right to kill Avner, and therefore Yoav's not a murderer. What's the argument based on? If you were such a marksman that you managed whilst running away with the back of the spear to get a bullseye, clearly you could have shot him through the leg and then not had to kill him. And that's a whole discussion in the Gemara. Okay, who won the case?
Wait, but also, let's
You all really have to, yeah.
Do you really have to make consideration of that? Good question, it's all part of the court case, right? It's a very good point. Yes, usually there is a halacha that says if you are able, you can't just shoot a guy if you can just close the door, right? If it's going to take you a second longer, or he's going to have to think about it, then not, right? But when you're someone like Avner, who you see his capabilities, right? Guys who are like this, so cool-headed, they can get a bullseye when they're being chased, right?
No, but I mean, can Yoav even just because Avner, even if he's a murderer, can Yoav just go out?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Go without a court or anything?
yeah, absolutely.
I thought you needed like Sanhedrin and everything to put someone to death. You just
The
went out.
Sanhedrin has to put someone.
His own volition without any like.
This is not a militia.
whatever.
He's the what's called the Goel Adam,
Yeah.
which is the family relative. That's a different story.
So
You know the pasuk says when you kill someone by mistake, right? So certainly you kill someone on purpose.
But
it's a
still,
relative.
Yoav still can't like.
So what exactly?
Okay,
Well,
do it.
just a second.
Yeah.
Imagine yourself reading this Chumash. A guy kills by mistake. He's going up the ladder. He falls down the ladder, kills someone. He runs off to the Aramaic land, right, to the refuge city.
Yeah,
Familiar with that?
yeah.
So it says if he leaves the refuge city, then one of the relatives can kill him.
But
What does that relative have to do? Bring a court? What does he do? He doesn't have to do anything. He just.
I thought it was like to just avoid him killing him, not that he can actually kill him. And there's no.
Well, okay, if you really can't kill him, that doesn't avoid anything. Because he knows that you can't kill him. Obviously, they're telling me seriously he can kill him, right?
No, I thought
yes,
it
it's
was-
true, it's to
I thought it
avoid.
was just
You
fear,
thought
because-
he might kill him, but he's not actually allowed to.
Because he's just mad. Like, for example,
No,
like
no,
someone,
no,
someone
no,
comes
no,
home, they
no,
see
you're
like
wrong.
their
You're
their
wrong.
wife sleeping with someone else.
Absolutely
he knows he'll get
wrong.
penalized, but he'll
Absolutely
do
wrong.
something.
Not only are you wrong, it's actually machlekes to know whether it's a mitzvah to kill him.
Whoa.
Some hold it's even a mitzvah to kill a guy if he leaves Aramaic. That's a debate. But everyone hears you're allowed to kill him. Now, but, wait a second.
Sure.
It's true there is a court behind this, because if you kill him, and then they bring you to court and say, why did you kill him? He didn't even kill the guy in the first place. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to be very clear.
Yeah,
What am I saying? He
confident.
actually did kill a guy by mistake.
Yeah.
Okay? So that will be an initial court case to establish that fact that he had the right to kill him.
Uh-huh.
Right? But once we establish whether he did or didn't have the right to kill him,
Okay,
then based
sure.
on that, you'll be able to kill him.
I
So
see.
that's the question whether Avner is entitled. The court will only kill Avner if he was warned. Like you said, it's very difficult for courts to kill people.
Yeah,
But for
yeah,
the
yeah.
relative, like Yoav,
Wait,
that's often what will happen.
Okay.
There's also, without spoiling what happens, there's also how Yoav killed Avner come into account.
Why? Because he killed him underneath the archway outside the city of Hebron. Big deal. It was a bit not fair.
Yeah.
You certainly
Well,
got him
no,
off guard, but how are you supposed to kill people if they're always war
Oh,
or
wait.
armed? You have to find some way to do it.
Wait, no, I thought he invited him under false pretenses.
No,
Okay.
it wasn't supposed to.
I know that exactly, but so what? Why is that bad?
Why is it-
Again,
why is it-
I have someone here who I have a mitzvah to kill.
Yeah.
I have a head to kill. But I can't get him because he's much stronger than me. So I'll wait till he's asleep and I'll chop his head off. Why do I have to do it in some sort of brave manner? Here, come on,
No,
let's fight.
no, I'm not talking about a brave thing, but like if I'm gonna say like, hey, let's meet up under good, good faith, whatever, and then walks up, cuts his head off, like.
No, that's bad. You know, it's not very gentlemanlike. Okay, yeah, it's not very gentlemanlike. But what are you supposed to do if the guy's much stronger than you? You have no other way to kill him but to cheat on him.
Yeah.
You know, he's a murderer, don't forget. He murdered your brother. It's not like he's a nice guy. I mean, in your opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe he's wrong, right? Anyway, according to
But think
Chazal,
about-
the Gemara said in heaven, the end of the sixth person in heaven, Israel, right? There is a whole page of discussion exactly how Shaul HaMelech dealt with this issue.
Uh-huh.
Was Avner a murderer, or was the person who killed Avner a murderer? And that all depends on whether Avner should have thought of some other solution or not. Okay? So, but exactly your claim. Shlomo HaMelech said, if you were that good, you got him whilst running away with the back of the spear and the fifth rib, you should have found a better way to do it. Put him out of action without killing him.
Uh-huh.
And the question is whether you ever expect the guy to do that. There's all discussion, even if we do expect, and the onlooker is expected to do that. The guy was actually being, because an onlooker is also allowed to kill
Uh-huh.
to save the person being chased. Right?
But they were in battle.
Right? Correct. So therefore what? What? You can do what you want? No. You're killing in self-defense. Otherwise you're a murderer.
Pretty sure I know the verse that they go back and look at. Is it the one where it's like you shall cut off her hand, show her no mercy, show no mercy?
That's the sort of idea of radio. Right. But again, it's only if there's no choice. If there's another choice, you have to use another
If there's
choice.
another-
The question is, if the person who's being chased has another choice, whether he's expected, because he's like much more involved. Someone who's standing aside, so he can stay cool and calm. The guy being chased is very like, you know.
So still, he couldn't just kill us. Avner can't just kill him because he was being chased.
No,
No.
no,
Okay.
no. Only because there's no other way.
If there's no other way.
If there's another way, you put him out of action and just shoot whatever you want, just because it's true they're out to get you. The fact they're out to get you doesn't mean he's lost his right to live.
Yeah.
Right? It means you have to do whatever is necessary to stop this happening. But if all you have to do is lock the door, right, then that's what you have to do.
I wonder-
If there's a possibility that after you lock the door, he'll bash the door down, and then you don't take those into considerations. But assuming there's nothing you have to do but that, then that's what you have to do. Okay, so that's what he does. What does he do? He kills him. Tate saying, and the spear went out, Me'acharav from the other side. This was done with such force, or Asor was running in such force in that direction, the spear went through the other side. Yipol Sham, and he fell there, Yamos Tachtov, and he died in the place. He didn't stagger away until he died. He dropped dead. Apparently, this is like you got there. There's no second chance or any other chance to live. Alamakom. That's what it means. Right? He was Kol haba el hamakom. All those who came to the place. Asher nafal sham asor. That asor fell. Vayamos died. Vaya'amodu, and they stood still. My guess is this was out of respect, not out of shock.
But it was so
Because
many
it
other
means
dead people.
Asor. Yes, no, because Asor was not just anyone. He was Yoav's brother. He was obviously a very high-ranking soldier, and there weren't so many dead. Lots of dead were from the other side, but from the side who were doing the chasing. Right, we're talking about the guys who were being chased didn't stand still. No, the guys who were doing the chasing, there weren't so many casualties on their side, and this was Asor, it was a big guy, right? I don't mean big.
David's men were chasing them away.
Don't remember chasing them away, but then when they saw Asar dead, anyone who came there stood at attention, said Kaddish, whatever, decree, I don't know what they did, but that's what it looks like, that with respect to Asar. But then that's going to ruin the chasing, right? If all the guys are standing still, someone's got to say, no, we've got to keep going, we'll come back to bury Asar later on. Now in the middle of a battle, we've got to keep moving. So that's what happened. Okay. But you do for Yoav and Avishai, so now Yoav and Avishai, those are the two commanders, Yoav the main man, Avishai the second brother. Right? They didn't stand watching their dead brother. No, there's no time for that now. Right? We are soldiers, right? We're not girls. We're fighting commanders of David's army. Okay? Acharei Avner, they chased after Avner. They continued the chase. Shemesh Ba'a, the sun set. That's what Ba'a means. You would have thought it means to rise. It doesn't mean that. Sun coming doesn't mean sunrise. It's sunset. Vehema Ba'u, and they came. Ad Givat Amma, till the hill of Amma. I don't know why it's called that. Asher al Panei Giach, which is faces Giach, could be anywhere. Derech Midbar Givon, in the direction of the desert of Givon, which is where the battle started in Givon. This is the desert in the area of Givon. Vayiskabsu, we'll just finish this puzzle. Vayiskabsu B'nei Binyamin, and the sons of Binyamin, Kibbutz.
Close. No, Hiru.
Kibbutz.
Gathering.
Got together. They're the ones who were being chased. So originally they were all fleeing in different directions, but they regrouped. They got together. Acharei Avner, behind Avner, he's ready to fight again. We were running away, but now we regrouped. Vayiyu, and they became la'aguda echos, in one group. Vayamdu, and they stood, not running away anymore. They stood al Rosh Givat Chat, on the top of one hill. Carry on. Yikra Avner at Yoav, and Avner called out to Yoav. Avner's the one being chased with most of the casualties, you'll see very soon. And his men have regrouped and they're standing on top of this hill. And he calls out to Yoav, who's doing the chasing. And he says, Halonetzach Toichal Cherev. So here's a good example of the hay being a question, right? There's a chat of patach under the hay. Netzach means?
Successful.
That's Lemnetzeach.
What is it?
Forever. We say it in the bracha, Netzach Sela Va'ed. Is there a connection between to be victorious and forever? I have no idea. They're both Lemnetzeach is to be victorious. Netzach means forever. You hope that once you're victorious, then it's forever, but I don't know if that, right? I don't know if there's a connection. Also a conductor. It's called Lamanatseach. Lamanatseach Mizmor David means this is a psalm for the conductor. Okay? Why? I don't know. Maybe he controls everybody, tells them what to do, so he's victorious. Anyway, Halanetzach Toichal Cherev, will the sword consume forever? Is this battle going to keep going on? You know, this is a civil war. We could keep fighting for a long time. Okay? Halanetzach, Hala Yodata. Don't you know? Yodata, you know. Haloi, do you not know? Kimara tiyeh ba'acharena. In the end, this will be bitter. It's always the worst thing when you have civil war. It's one thing to kill your enemies, but these guys are friends. these guys are brothers and they're killing each other. This is really bitter. If you keep doing this, it's going to be really bad. You're going to go full-blown war between the two sides. At the moment, it's just these two groups of men, but this could really be bad. We've got to put a stop to this. V'ad matai, until when, loitay mar la'am, will you not say to the people, lashuv, to return, me'acharei acheihem, from behind there? Means you should call your men off. Right? We're the ones being chased. You should call your men. This is going to go on forever if you don't call your men off. Now, of course, that's a bit of a ridiculous claim. You're the guy who started it, right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, but that's what Yoav's going to say to him. Right? Vayomer Yoav. Here it says, Chaylokim, as God lives. She's like swearing, Ki lule dibarta, if you hadn't spoken, lule means were it not, that you spoke, Ki os mehabayker, already in the morning. Na leha'am, the people would have gone up, Ish me acharei achiv, each man from after his brother, means we would never gone to this fight in the first place if it hadn't been your idea. So don't blame us and say, oh, we need a ceasefire because this is going to be terrible, one brother fighting against the other. It was your idea in the first place. But that's still true that we need to have a ceasefire, but it's like not really. He's just returning to Avner's criticism, as if Yoav's to blame that he doesn't call a ceasefire. Well, you're going to ceasefire, make a ceasefire, but don't. It's not my fault, it's your fault, right? Okay, so that's what they did. Right, finished. Next time.
No.
Okay. This is an awful story. We still don't know how many people were killed, but we'll find out.